Hello. Today I thought I'd talk about the Alex Jones situation, or the Alex Jones conspiracy, for conspiracy it is, funnily enough, in my opinion. Now everybody's talking about it. If you don't know what it is, I'll explain in a minute. But the thing is, there's an important point which is not really being said by, well, almost anyone. I've seen it once on the Corbett report, but nobody else seems to have mentioned it. So I thought I would reiterate it to my own viewers and add my own £2 as well. But my voice is a bit funny today because I've had viral gastroenteritis over the last week, and it's left me with well, symptoms of a cold. I don't know if I've actually got a cold as well, but my voice is a bit So I'll be using jump cuts to cut out the coughing. Okay, I don't usually bother with jump cuts and stuff like that, but there's a reason for it sometimes, I guess. So the point about the Alex Jones thing is we're about to lose our internet freedom, probably. So that's why it's important. So, who is Alex Jones and what's the controversy, what's happened? In a nutshell, Alex Jones is a conspiracy theory nut, or an entertainer, really. So he goes on like incredible mindless rants about conspiracy. I used to watch his channel occasionally for entertainment, for fun, just watching him rant and wondering, ooh, could it be true? Could this be a conspiracy? But I quickly realised that for him, everything is a conspiracy. So there's no objectivity there, really. If everything's a conspiracy, yes, there are some actual conspiracies, but not everything is a conspiracy, okay? So he's bound to be right sometimes because everything's a conspiracy to him. I mean, whether he believes what he's ranting about or not, I don't know. He's making money, obviously, selling supplements and survival kit and stuff like that. But whether the cart came before the horse or not, I don't know. He may be partly sincere and partly commercialised. But certainly he knows how to entertain the viewers. And as with somebody who rants like him, he's going to cross the line from time to time, and he has certainly done so. Recently there have been threats of violence and slander. He's been saying the Sandy Hook school massacre is a fake with actors. It's going too far, right? Especially though the threats of violence to Robert Mueller, which I don't think any viewer probably took seriously, but there are nutcases out there with no sense of proportion. So it's in any case against the terms of service of various services to do anything like that. So the other day Apple took him off their platform within hours. YouTube had done the same, then Spotify and a dozen others, right? Over the previous 48 hours he's been taken off practically everything except Twitter at this point. And people are saying, hey, this is collusion. And I would argue, yes, it is, but not exactly. It's kind of collusion. But they weren't colluding against Alex Jones specifically. They were colluding for another purpose, which I will speak of in a bit. So anyway, he's been deplatformed. His videos are gone. He's still got his website on independent hosting. Okay. He's still got the apps actually on the Google Play Store and in Apple's App Store at the moment, I think. I've downloaded the app onto my iPhone. Not my iPhone, my Android phone. Just for the sake of it, but I can't see me watching it. I don't watch him anymore. Once I realised he was not objective, he's not worth watching, is he? So, but I just downloaded it to see if I could, and it's still there and it still works. So the fact that the various supposedly independent companies all deplatformed him within the space of a few hours is suspicious, but on the other hand, he probably put the same video up on each of them, violating all of their terms of service at the same time. So, collusion or not? I think there is collusion, as I say, but still it's suspicious because most platforms wait for someone to report them, and then they, then they look at it and say, okay, this is dodgy, let's get rid of it. But here it certainly looks like they've decided on, oh, this is a good example, let's zap him, right? We'll make an example of this one. But I say they're doing it for an ulterior motive. This is not to target Alex Jones. This is actually to deliberately cause outrage and for people to say something must be done. The internet must be regulated. The big companies want that. I'll explain why, but that's how corporations take over markets, by getting them regulated. You see, they advise the government with their posh, expensive lobbyists on what the rules should be. They fund, especially in America, the members of Congress and so on, right? Those people are bought and paid for by these rich companies. So they listen to the lobbyists from them because they want their money. It's called corruption. It's supposed to be democracy because people can have their say and speak to their member of parliament or whatever, but in the United States particularly, it's gone way beyond that. And Britain is ruled by elites who follow the same rules in different ways. It's the same idea. So let me explain then how a corporation or corporations take over a market. They get big and rich first of all from actually doing their jobs, okay, but they get a bit fed up with small companies pricking them with pins all the time, and especially in the internet, there's a chance that other disruptors like themselves could come along one day and turf them over, right? You have Yahoo, which is still around but has been sidelined. You had AOL once upon a time, was massive on the internet, and now it's nowhere. MySpace, massive social network, gone. There are others. Google has tried with several different platforms. All failures. Google Plus is staggering along somehow. Once they get big, they become afraid that there will be other disruptors like themselves who can start small but grow massive. Facebook was having trouble with people leaving Facebook to go to WhatsApp, which is just a messaging service. Because when you break it down, all Facebook is a messaging service. You post a picture and you make a comment. That's it. That's Facebook in a nutshell, right? So WhatsApp, you can do the same, more or less. It's not so easy, in fact, but people were leaving Facebook for WhatsApp. So Facebook bought it. $19 billion or something, okay? Once you're big, you can swallow up other systems, but it's expensive, okay? You can only do that so much. If you get several disruptors at once, one of them might manage to knock you down before you've bought them out. So what you do is block them at source. You get the internet regulated so that the rules are too expensive for small fry to implement. so they can't enter the market. They can't compete with you. Those that can manage to get some massive capital and get into the market, those few, you can buy them out. But you're blocking most of them at a stroke. So I would say these companies, they haven't specifically talked about let's block Alex Jones, but I think they have spoken to each other about how can we protect our positions in the market. We need this market to be regulated, and we'll advise on what the rules are going to be. So how can we do that? We need a public outcry, so people say, oh my God, something must be done. And then we'll suggest these regulations. Job done. Okay. So they create a scandal, or maybe multiple ones, and eventually the vocal sheeple complain, enough, we're losing our internet freedom, all these people are being silenced. Do something. Something must be done. It's what David Icke calls problem, reaction, solution. You create a problem, you get the expected reaction, and you provide the solution, which suits you, and doesn't suit the people who are actually saying something must be done, except by coincidence. I can give you an example of how this was done recently in Britain, for how big companies took over the vitamin and health food supplements market in Britain, and Europe indeed. It used to be when you went into the health food shops, you'd see their own brand vitamins, you'd see a few other big brands vitamins. I say vitamins, I know it's vitamins, or vitamins possibly, I don't know, etymologically. But in some parts of England we say vitamins, okay. Sorry. But you'd go in there and you'd find independent manufacturers with like one or two types of vitamins or minerals or remedies or whatever on the shelves. Lots of them. But all from independent companies making like just this one thing or a couple of items, and that's it. And the major supplement companies went to the EU and they said this market should be regulated. People are taking these things and they haven't been tested properly. This is despite the fact that many of these remedies have been in use for hundreds and even thousands of years in some cases. Okay. And they made up a whole lot of rules, like a bottle of 30 capsules has to be a particular size. The pills have to be certain shapes. They have to have certain symbols printed on them. They have to be tested in certain expensive ways. They have to be certified in certain expensive ways. Now, I used to work for a computer company. I ran it with a friend, or a friend ran it with me. And we had a product from, I don't know, Hong Kong somewhere. A new type of phone. A desk phone. And it had some good functions at the time. I think they all do it nowadays. But at the time it was unique. I can't remember what the functions were. But we were not able to import it and sell it without getting a CE mark, meaning it's certified by the European Union as being safe. And it would have cost us something like £30,000 to get this stupid certificate, right? And so we'd have to send it to a lab, get it tested, and so on, which would take an age and cost a fortune. For a small company, that was completely impossible, right? Especially when there was no guarantee that we could corner the market afterwards. The manufacturers over in China were not willing to pay for this process. They wanted us to do it. Okay, fair enough. They'll probably find somebody who can afford it, like a big company. So we didn't corner the market with that product, and it went elsewhere. But with these little vitamin companies, the rules came in force one day, and overnight all those products disappeared from the shelves of the shops. They're not there anymore. They used to be in all the supermarkets. Some of them I can remember Cantamega 2000 and things like that. Mega multivitamin type things. Gone. Because these little companies could not afford to buy the new machinery, get the certifications, spend a year doing testing, which the big corporates had already arranged for themselves in advance, because they're wealthy and can afford it. So dozens of companies just went to the wall overnight. Goodbye, end of business. Now you go into the vitamin shops and it's almost all big brands. One or two survived, but it's almost all big brands, and that's it. For no good reason, except to cut out the competition. The health reasons given are entirely spurious. In my opinion, there are benefits to getting things tested and certificated, of course, but with things that have been in traditional use for a long time, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so the market was taken over. The small companies cannot break into this market anymore. They need a huge amount of capital to get the machinery, to get the quality controls in place, to get the testing done, to get the certification done. It's a massive amount of money that's needed to break in. A small entrepreneur starting from scratch isn't going to be able to do it without getting funding from somewhere, from a rich company perhaps. They own the market, and the consumer has reduced choice. So the internet corporates who have conspired, I think they must have discussed what they're going to do for it all to happen at once. Okay, they may not have discussed to say we're going to do it to Alex Jones, but they might have said, well, at some point somebody's going to cross the line and we can bash them, right? So when Apple did it, the others woke up and thought, ooh, there's an opportunity, let's do it. Alex Jones is the scapegoat. And sure, he broke the rules, I've no doubt about it. But taking his channel down is too much. He had 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, I think. Millions of viewers elsewhere. Yes, it's a deliberate act of sabotage of free speech, so that people will come up, and lots of pundits are on YouTube saying something must be done. We must make them utilities. We must regulate the internet. We must have a Bill of Rights. A Bill of Rights might be okay depending on how much it interferes. If it's like the American Constitution, where it basically consists of a sentence, it may be alright. But if it's like something from the EU, like 90 volumes of impenetrable clauses, it's not alright. Okay. But regulation will be 90 volumes of impenetrable clauses that only the wealthy can afford to comply with. The market will be sealed up, and the disruptors will be blocked from killing Facebook, Google, and all the rest. It will be almost impossible for someone to do that. They are securing their position as monopolists, almost monopolists. That's what it's all about, really. So do not cry out for the internet to be regulated, I say. Alex Jones, let him go. Make it not work, okay? Sorry, he's gone. He broke the rules anyway. He can use his own website. People who want to see him can still see him. But don't cry out for the internet to be regulated, because it will ruin internet freedom. New ideas and new concepts, new companies will be blocked from starting up. The evolution of the internet will be curtailed, and it'll all become PG-13 boredom like the television. Regulation is the end of the Wild West internet, the final coup de grace. Okay, that's what they're after. Don't let them have it. don't ask for regulation. If people go over the top, of course they should be chucked out. There's no need for that. But there's no need for regulation either. Regulation only favours the corporates. It does nothing else. And it certainly doesn't favour the public. Do you agree? I want to hear your comments. Am I right, am I wrong? This video, I'm going to put it up straight away. I would normally wait to the weekend to put it up, but because it's topical, I'm going to put it up today. I don't know if I'll do one next weekend. I might. Maybe the situation will have changed and I'll have more to say. I don't know. But for now, bye for now.